I do have to floor scrub the hallways so our janitors don't yell at me and it looks like I was never here.
You are doing the most for these fish.
I'm trying my best. So, in our classroom here, got my little corner back here. Got some of my teaching supplies here. A nice little window. Looks like our resource officer is getting here. It's always nice to have them for the kids here. Got some Legos because the kids, they like to play. Like to have their Legos. Like to have their Legos here for our for our indoor recess when it gets too cold up here in the UP.
Yeah.
We have our little cuddle buddy, Cooper. Students, if they need a little break sometimes, they can go ahead and hug Cooper or read a nice book to him here. Actually, last year, I got a grant for my classroom, and we got about $2,000 to spend on some good books. So I got like a new bookshelf there, and a bookshelf here, with some stories and different works of literature. It's called like Windows and Mirrors. So they got to see students from other nationalities, other cultures, other religions, kind of see how they live, because it's important for students to get a little window into other people's worlds. We have adopted a little calf named Oreo with the Michigan Discovery Connect with the dairy farms. So this is Oreo, our little calf, a little class calf there. We get little fun updates of Oreo throughout our time here.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
It's fun because the kids, like, we get to show the kids like the life cycle of the cows, how milk is produced. They have virtual tours on there, so that's a very fun opportunity for students there. We in our school, we had a family mission statement event, and so this is it's called Mr. B's class mission statement. So we just try to keep it nice and simple. In this class, we learn to have fun. We also work and play as a team. We will support one another, and we believe we can do it. Goes along with our growth mindset pledge that we say every day, because that's a part of our day-to-day life here. I'll introduce you to our two class pets here. We have Mango right here. Not sure what kind of beautiful fish Mango is. Some people say koi fish. I am not a fish expert in the very fancy looking fish here. And we have little Velvet right here.
Mango is so big.
Yes, it is a very large fish. I was just telling the kids today that I did just clean it recently, as you can see how beautifully it's reflecting in there.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. But it is very difficult to clean. I gotta empty it with some buckets here. Gotta put the fish into their own little smaller buckets. And I was telling the kids that I do have to make sure a cover in a heavy object is on top of the bowl bucket, because Mango likes to attempt to escape often.
Oh, wow.
I have had to make sure that it is secure. But yeah, I have to empty it, take all the dirty water out, scrub it with a scrubbing pad, take all the rocks off, scrub the bottom there. I scrub up their little house, their little decorations. Got to haul a hose up from our boiler room and then hook it up to the janitor's closet sink, and then pull it back in here and take all the kinks out, and then make sure the temperature is the same temperature as the water that was in here, so I don't freeze them or cook them. And then I have to put some of the the Aqua Safe to make sure it has the same like pH level that these fish need. And then I do have to floor scrub the hallways so our janitors don't yell at me and it looks like I was never here.
You are doing the most for these fish.
I'm trying my best. The kids love it, so They get to name them. The kids, they vote on it. They make a cool little background.
Oh, cute.
And then we choose like 3 or 4 and go from there.
That's amazing.
In the beginning of the school year, we pick jobs and we rotate through them. So I have a student in the morning that is feeding the fish, show them just a little pinch there, don't need them pigging out too much with it. And then we have to unplug their light so we don't get a whole ton of extra expedited algae growth there. So yeah, we do have those roles for the students, and we look through the life cycle of a fish and things like that, because fishing is super important up here in the UP.
That's amazing. Thanks for the tour. First of all, it looks like you have a really fantastic and dynamic and student-centered classroom. I love all the places where you're bringing in student voice. I love the mission statement. I love what's the elephant's name? Remind me. Cooper.
Cooper. Yep.
Cooper. It's so great to provide that in the classroom, and also like as a lifelong learning skill, right? Like, how do you identify a place where you can kind of sit and calm down? Like, we're all gonna have moments where we need to like take a breath or take a break or something. And obviously the fish and everything you're teaching, I wanna learn more about your classroom library, because I think that's so impressive that you took extra time, like you didn't have to do this, to apply for the grant, to find the books, and to track down these stories that can be really impactful for students. But first, we got to introduce you. I know I was just like, wait a minute, your classroom looks great. Show me everything first. So I appreciate that, but like, I want everybody to hear who you are and where you are. You mentioned you're teaching in the UP. How did you get there? What is it like? What's your community like? Tell us about your school, all that. Start with you, and then go big.
Nice to meet you, everyone. My name is CJ Barron. I teach 2nd grade here at Lemmer Elementary. We're a 1st and 2nd grade building here. I grew up, I was born and raised here in Escanaba. Graduated here from the local high school in 2017. Played the normal sports here. We have great community based here in Escanaba. Our fan club is super important with athletics, and then we have awesome opportunities at the high school through elementary level with theater, with robotics. The community gives back a lot to the schools, and our school board and the people involved make it a priority of higher education here. And it's just like a great, people here. We're a city of like 12,000 people. So if by UP standards, one of the top 4, top 5 biggest cities
in
the UP. Not big by downstate standards, but we're a community that we're hardworking. We like to stick by one another. We help each other out. I mean, there's not a day that I don't ask a teacher for help, or with help with something with a student here, or there's not a parent asking if they can donate anything to the classroom. We're just very connected. Like, we are a small, tight-knit community here that care about one another, that are involved in pretty much everything. I wouldn't trade it for anything being here in Escanaba.
That's so cool. That sounds amazing. And I feel like in education we talk about that a lot, right? It's always like, how do we connect with families more? How do we make the school a place where kids want to come, where families feel comfortable? How do we bridge that gap? And downstate, it's tricky, right? Around the area where a lot of the teachers that I work with, there are challenges because everybody's busy. Michigan's a big choice state, and so your students might live down the road, they might live in the next city over, right? There's all kinds of barriers. So where have you seen for your students the impact of this community-centered culture that you've experienced both as a young person and as an adult? Like, how is that supporting their learning and helping them grow into humans?
Yeah, I think a big part of what we like to do here at Lemmer and Escanaba Schools is just set these students up that they can be real life, real world leaders. We have our different curriculum we do here, like our positive behavior intervention system. We try to have them be comfortable with who they are and then learn to be in control of themselves, and then they can eventually go out into the world to kind of give back. Students are taught like the vocab words of like have a growth mindset, overcome challenges. Like in my classroom personally, we have a growth mindset pledge we say every morning, and we're trying to train our brains. Like I keep repeating, like, hey, I know we may not want to do this right now, but like, hey, we say this every day. Like we got to train our brain because we want to keep improving and keep becoming the best version of ourselves we can be. So like it's kind of like just continually like being a broken record of kind of giving these students like the vocab words and like the mindset of like, hey, we can overcome this. Like I'm transparent with them of like my daily struggles, and like we're all transparent here, but like, hey, we're all going through something, but like let's do it together. So I think just like teaching like the students that we're a family here, families love and we take care of each other. I think that's a big thing of helping students keep coming back to school and keep having like the parents give the positive feedback of that their students want to keep coming back.
That it's working. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And I think it's doubly important, right? You're a product of this community. You grew up here, you chose to stay, you know how valuable this culture is. I want to call out a thing that I heard you say over and over again that I think is so important. That when we're talking about things like growth mindset, right? When we're talking about some of these attitudes around resilience and community care and perspective taking, you know, that the vocabulary is important. The direct instruction is important, especially for young kids, first and second grade, right? They're not going to totally understand all of the aspects of what growth mindset might look like for them in 4th, 5th grade and 8th grade in high school. But you're right, the repetition of the language, the, you know, use of, when you pointed out the mission statement that you developed as a class and the fact that it is an illustration of a growth mindset, you know, the repetition of like, hey, we get here in the morning and we say this, we define the vocabulary, we use the language, and I remind you throughout the day that, you know, this is the perspective we're taking on. I think that's really, really important. Like we're in school to teach. And we can foster attitudes and foster community while explicitly teaching about what we're doing. Kids deserve to know. So kudos to you for that. I want to talk about, because I think this is another really great example of that. When you showed us your library, you talked about windows and mirrors. And so I guess first of all, if you could, you know, talk about how you understand that concept and what you're trying to do with the library, and then the ways that you use reading and stories in particular to teach, I would assume, perspective and cultural awareness and some of the other things that come up in your reading lessons in class. Yeah,
so that whole idea of building my classroom library, because I came into my classroom and I believe the teacher in front of me was a second grade teacher, but she had been here for a while, and Lemmer was like a kindergarten through 5th grade school before. And it wasn't too much before I started here that it transitioned to 1st and 2nd grade classrooms. So I had a lot of chapter books, a lot of like outdated books. So like over my like the 2 years before, I was kind of like purging some books and like kind of like being like, wow, I think these kids, like we could use some like more like picture books that are going to be more interesting, and like just give different perspectives on students and families across the world. Because like being in the UP, we're sheltered. Like we're pretty isolated, right? We have the bridge on our eastern side, and then we have Wisconsin there, and like lakes on our northern part. So like we don't have the big time diversity. Like we just don't. Like we're kind of isolated up here. We don't have the diversity of the bigger cities of downstate. So like I have always thought like going to northern Michigan taught me a lot to be open-minded and be ready to like learn about other individuals that may not have the same background as me, the same cultures, same religions, but it's important to learn about them because we're going to be seeing them in our jobs, seeing people in like all different walks of life. So it's gonna be awesome to learn about that at a 2nd grade level. Like I didn't have that. So I think our ISD and our principal had reached out around, maybe it was like December of last year for this opportunity. And I was like, yep, absolutely, sign me up. So we were able to like read through some of these stories. Our ladies of the ISD, our literacy consultants had previewed a lot of them, of showing
Okay.
like what cultures are being represented in these, what different nationalities or races are in these. And like they were super awesome to like get to know and get to learn about these stories. I'm like, I gotta have these in my classroom. So if there's certain issues that pop up, like on the playground, maybe I'll find a book about resolving conflict in there, because I have that already labeled of a book there. Or maybe if we're talking about like it's the holiday season for Christmas, well, I'll bring in my Hanukkah, my Kwanzaa, like those stories of different holidays, because not everyone celebrates Christmas here. So like I like to bring in like those as they come like naturally through the seasons of just some that could be difficult conversations to have like once you get to middle school. But right now it's like with animals, with pets, and with some like fun second grade topics and characters in there. It makes it a lot more manageable for me as a teacher to teach these to these students. But they're learning a lot about it, and they're getting the main points of it, and it brings a smile to my face, like knowing that I'm able to help them like build the foundation of just being a better person.
Oh, I love that. That's your line, right? It brings a smile to my face. I mean, that makes me really happy too. And I've seen it. I think we've all seen it, right? And it's just obviously, Windows and Mirrors, the seminal research paper, that says students need all these opportunities to experience other cultures and to have their own culture reflected back to them and celebrated, right? And so I think depending on where we are in the state, which students are in front of us, like that looks a little bit different, but the stories, there's a well-documented history of how powerful these stories can be to teach students vocabulary, to teach them concepts, to help them relate with other people. And I think the thing that you're leaning into that's really beautiful for me is like just making it an easy part of being in a space together, right? Like we're just gonna read this story and like learn something new together. And the idea that for you going to Northern was an experiencing you didn't use this word, but I'll call it maybe a little bit of culture shock, which I know a lot of our students experience at university. Grow up in a small town, go to a big university, and it's like, wow, look at all these people around me, and having to kind of learn how to learn about them and how to interact with them. At the first and second grade level, you're introducing students to, like, it's okay if you don't know what Hanukkah is. It's okay if you don't share this experience. We're gonna learn about it, and it's chill, and we can smile about it, and we can ask questions. And I think that's such a beautiful way to leverage reading. Mm-hmm. So it's reading month. We're talking during March, and it's reading month. So to shift just a little bit, do you have is there anything else? Like, obviously it sounds like you do reading every day, and you bring books in for seasonal celebrations and all kinds of stuff, but do you have anything special planned for reading month this year?
Yeah, so we always try to do a family night here at Lemmer. On March 20th, we're going to be having our families come in. We have our theme for March Reading Month is game boards and games in general.
Oh, fun.
So we've had the usual rotation of different ones throughout the year, but we thought families don't always come around together and like play a board game, because board game is reading like the clues on the cards still. Yes. It's like counting the spaces that you go. So like there's lots of like different things of what they're learning with it.
Wow. Yeah.
So we have like all of our doors are decorated. I had one of our Title I resource ladies. She's awesome. Mrs. Royer, she does a lot for me. She made a trouble and had put that on my board. I can send you a picture of that.
I want to see it.
It's really sweet. I'll make sure to send you a picture of it. So we're having the families come in. We'll have different booths of just different like skills that some of these students like might want to learn with their families. One teacher's doing shoe tying, because that's a big second grade skill.
Yeah.
We have like book bingo going on. There'll be some other like board game activities. Personally, I am partnering with you guys and the crew up in Marquette. Connor McCoy, he's going to be bringing down some supplies for me. I'm going to be running a booth for the Michigan Learning Channel and PBS Kids. He's got some fun activities that parents can do with their students, because we're always trying to build that family to school connection there. Yeah. But we're super excited for that event coming up.
That sounds so cool. First of all, thanks for the shout out. Anybody who's watching, call your local Michigan Learning Channel rep. We'll come out to your family night, bring all kinds of fun stuff. Yep. I love this like expanded view of literacy. You know, this idea that like, well, we're gonna have a family night, we're gonna center reading, but like, guess what? When you have family game night, you're reading. You're practicing reading. You're practicing, you know, mathematical literacy. You're practicing negotiating like on a map. If you're using like chutes and ladders as like diagramming, there's all kinds of ways that different literacies are showing up in our interactions. And it just speaks to what you were sharing earlier about the culture of your community and this idea that like, look, we're all in it together. We're a big family. We have family game nights. Come to Lemmer, we're gonna have a big family game night all together, you know, and we're gonna tie some shoes and have some snacks and read some books. And that sounds like an amazing place to be. It sounds like your school is an amazing place to be. Your classroom is an amazing place to be. I'm so impressed to hear you share everything about what you do and the intentionality behind everything that you're doing and how you're thinking about the role you play in your students' lives and how you're bringing them up, how you're educating them, how you're teaching them, you know, explicit vocabulary, as well as like, you know, what we used to call soft skills and these, you know, how to be together, how to communicate, how to problem solve, how to learn about other people. So thank you for everything that you do. I feel super energized by our conversation. I want to give you a chance to kind of have the last word, though. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to this year? Anything else you want to share about what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited. It's March. It's some temperatures are starting to warm up here, so trying to hopefully get outside with some of the students here. I know a big thing right now for my family personally is like maple syrup season. So that's going on right now. So me and my parapro in my room, both of our families make maple syrup. So we're planning on making a kind of a unit, a learning opportunity of it, and planning on bringing in some pancakes and some of our homemade maple syrup to share some of that UP heritage and have a little fun event with that. So my family's in the process of making that this month. So I'll be heading out to Rock, Michigan to help the old man make some of that and then bring it in for the kids.
That's so cool. And again, what a cool experience for them to like see that part of you. Like, this is a family thing, this is a heritage thing for me. I'm sure many of them, their families participate in syrup making, or they have other, you know, sort of food histories or like craft histories in their community that, or in their families that they're a part of. And I love your willingness to share yourself so, you know, intimately and so deeply with your students. They're learning that they can trust adults. They're learning that you are a family. They're learning that we should share openly, because that's how we learn about each other and that's how we grow together. So again, kudos for everything that you do and for turning kind of everyday things into learning opportunities. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm getting from this conversation is like, when kids are in school, like, it doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a math lesson. Like, there, you know, you can learn about fish. You can learn from a board game. You can learn about this, you know, syrup making process that your family's been doing for generations. And every experience I've had with a teacher in the UP is really similar to this. That I think there's just because there's such a unique way of life where you live, there's a lot of opportunity to bring that in, but we all have a lot to learn from you as far as that goes. So thanks for sharing. Anything you want to close us out with? Anything we forgot to touch on?
Just for like younger teachers that are just getting in, just get involved as much as you can with your school. Talk to your mentor teacher. Try to get as many resources as you can. You don't have to follow exactly what they're doing, but I know I had a lot of very valuable mentors in my first couple years here, and just trying to pick their brains and seeing what they do and kind of fitting it into your wheelhouse has been important for me. So just get involved in your community and find your resources wherever you can. Do Google searches and just be curious about learning.
Oh, I love that. Be curious about learning. We'll end on that. Thanks for the advice. Thanks so much for sharing your classroom and who you are. and for hanging out with us here on the planning period.
This program is made possible in part by the state of Michigan and by viewers like you. Thank you.